Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Archives podcast. Today, we're here with 0xSimpleFarmer, who's one of the main builders on sankochain right now, building SmooviePhone and a few other things. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Thanks for having me on your interview.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to have you on. You have some interesting stories that you were telling me about earlier, so I'm excited to get into all of that. And I think we could just start with maybe your background and what drew you into crypto, and then also how you got into Arbitrum ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the first exposure I had to crypto was actually getting into Arbitrum. I was really interested in the effectiveness of DeFi protocols and how smart contracts were able to regulate a DeFi protocol and make it both profitable and intuitive as well as like interesting for users. So my first exposure was to DopeX, decentralized options exchange on Arbitrum. So I bridged from ETH, and then I traded on DopeX since the beginning, since the SSOVs. I held DPX and RDPX, and that was my main hub for definitely the first few years, other than some speculation on some smaller caps.
Very cool. And how has your like journey through crypto been? Specifically, like, did you get into like DeFi immediately? Were you like kind of a trader speculator at first? Did you get into building like very soon?
So this is my first exposure to building, honestly, with
Mm,
SP on sankochain. I just thought it was an interesting challenge for myself as an individual to push the limits of what I can do if I really put my mind to something. So that's what I'm doing here on sankochain, which is now a layer three. It's something that didn't even exist, back when I initially
mm,
onboarded into crypto. I definitely consider myself a trader first, an options trader. And then in terms of speculation, you hear about certain trends, meme coin waves, stuff like that. But unfortunately, I found that to be a risky form of gambling,
right.
especially with meme coins. The innate volatility is something I would rather leverage trade on in an intelligent way than merely hodl meme coins. I had some really poor experiences on Sol, so that was in and out there. I was in and out
Yeah.
there within 10 days.
I think
At one point I was
we've all had the soul experience in the
yeah,
trenches.
no,
Yeah.
I think Sol is where good traders go to throw
Get
away their
humbled.
profits. Yeah,
Yeah. For sure.
and I guess it's a good school of learning how to get quick attention. Right, I did learn a couple things like that was my first exposure to raids. For example, people who raiding tweets and stuff like that, and then those little Telegram groups. It's not
Right.
something that was as common initially when I first started in crypto, but I think it's an interesting dynamic having active community engagement and supporting their bags in a way. So I think there are things to learn from it, but there are also things that everybody can see are just incorrect. I think it leads to a lot of bad actors. It leads to a lot of good people losing money, getting manipulated. A lot of individuals, especially with the nature of the internet, create anonymous wallets and profiles, and then you actually have one person with 10 alts, and it looks like a
Right.
full group. It looks like a full group of people. Everyone's really hyped about buying a coin, but it turns out there's actually only two people, you and the dev, and the dev
Yeah.
is manipulating
Dev on
you, and
15 wallets. Yeah.
yeah. And so I think that's an unfortunate thing that's come out of the meme coin launcher paradigm.
Mm,
But on Sanko Chain, on DMT specifically, I mean, I'm not a member of the core team. I'm just a builder there, an independent builder. But I think we're really hyper focused on being better than Sol, being a better version of everything that already exists within crypto.
for sure. Yeah. Hopefully. And talking like bringing it back to like the soul, I think there are actually a lot of lessons to be learned. I remember like this summer I was kind of deep in the trenches trying to discover alpha, but people were there's like groups of people who just periodically over the day launch like I don't know 15, 20 projects a day, and they would have alts. They would like be in a group. They would make a telegram call where people would join, and then if you were like kind of observant a little bit, you'd actually just see them doing this over and over and scamming people, rugging people. So
Mm.
the whole soul experience was very interesting. I think definitely in terms of like gaining attention, I think those teams really like learn how to optimize and min max that as much as they could, which is nice for like us building DeFi stuff because we can kind of, you know, take some of those lessons and apply them and maybe do a little bit better than we would have done if, we're just sticking to product. But yeah, very, very cool to hear. And I think we can move on to how has the experience of being a speculator versus being a builder been? Which one do you prefer, maybe?
Well, I think it's the idea of would you rather, with your free time, would you rather sit at home and watch a movie, or would you rather run a marathon, right?
Right.
I think being a builder is something that's exceptionally difficult, but can also be exceptionally rewarding. It's beautiful to see a community build upon itself organically. Going from 10, 15 members within a TG and 20 followers on X up into something in the thousands of followers. It's really
Right.
cool. It's cool to see how a community of people can gain trust within a vision and all come together. People call it a crypto cult in a lot of ways. I think it's a bit funny, but I think what it prescribes to is the tribal nature of human beings, that we're
Mm,
eager to join tribes and feel that we fit in a certain group. So I think that's why these things exist. Some certain tribes get bigger, smaller. Some tribes have charismatic leaders. Some tribes have leaders who are bad actors. And then, you know, it's just creating a really interesting ecosystem within the cryptocurrency and blockchain universe. And I'm excited about it. I think it's fun. I just hope,
yeah, absolutely.
like I said, that the good builders and the good folks doing interesting, intelligent projects can convince the public that crypto is for good and that the
Mm,
products that we are building are for a better future. And the way we can do that is calling out the people who are doing the bad stuff. Honestly, that's what I do as well. Even on sankochain, if I ever saw somebody who was actively creating alts to rug other people, I made sure. I mean, I didn't tell them they were rugging them, but I made sure
mm,
people knew. It's obvious that these wallets are connected based on their behaviors and stuff. And I think as OGs, people have been trading in DeFi for a long time, that we are really intuitive and we know what organic blockchain behavior is compared to inorganic behavior.
for sure, yeah. Hopefully over time, those bad actors get rinsed and only the value remains. So it's good to see people that stick to their principles, their values, and build something actually useful. So very
Absolutely.
cool. And on that topic, can you give us the story behind SmooviePhone and your project on Sankochain?
Yeah, absolutely. So the ticker is SP, short for SmooviePhone. sankochain's founders, two of them, are called Smoothie Williams, Mr. Smoothie Williams and Company Phone. And I always thought their names were really interesting. I thought it was kind of a unique name, and I wanted to build something that was unique as well. So I just took part of each person's name, and it's also kind of a pun on MoviePhone, which is the old website that used to show people movie times.
Mm,
So originally, Sankochain was only launched like 4 months ago, and you had several meme coin launchers. You had Fankotech, Fugazi, and Basecamp. Basecamp is pretty popular with Base. People use it to launch coins on Base as well, and they had added Sanko to their list. I thought it'd be an interesting thought experiment to launch a token, and I did. And I saw that the community caught on to it. And when I saw how many people had invested in the project, I felt like it was my responsibility to turn it into something useful and fun. And it's kind of just been, you know, riding the wave since then.
mm,
Kind of just building, having fun with it, trying to be creative. I have a lot of ideas that I've always wanted to implement within blockchain, and I think we've done so really well. There's a lot of exciting things being released here in the short term future. A lot of things have already been released, and I think the goal is to build a self-sustaining ecosystem, where people can
mm,
interact with each other, where the protocols generate revenue that's shared with the holders, and something that in the end, that I don't have to actively manage either. I think if it's built in a really intelligent way, the product will essentially manage itself with minor maintenance and
for
grow on its
sure.
own. So that's the goal. It's a self-sustaining, growing machine, and it's a kind of a meme coin too, in the fact that it's the old Nokia 3310. So it catches a lot of people's attention when they see that logo. But it's a meme coin with utility at the end of the
Mm,
day. For me, I compare it as a metaphor to having a car. Like an old antique car is really cool, but nobody really likes it if it can't run. It can't drive.
right.
That's kind of like a meme coin without utility. if you have a really cool old car, you should give it a really good engine as
It
well.
definitely helps if it runs, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that's the thesis here.
very cool. And I kind of wanted to get into your like more deep thoughts about GameFi as a like sector, and then Senko specifically, and what makes it better as like a culture chain and like a GameFi chain versus others that exist right now or have existed in the past.
Right. Well, I think what we can say is that layer threes are a relatively new paradigm within blockchain. So it's difficult to say what is best right now. What we know for sure is that Sanko has the most activity from any
Mm.
layer three currently, and they're one of the leaders with total liquidity that has come onto the chain as well, which is a big deal. An additional layer, layer three, is an additional filter for people to onboard. Senko is nice because the token DMT is interchain. It's on ETH, mainnet, ARB, and sankochain. And on sankochain, it uses the gas. So every transaction that occurs on sankochain burns DMT, which is really nice. I think it's an intelligent way to build an ecosystem. In terms of a culture chain, I don't know. I think it's difficult to define what a culture chain is. I think it's difficult to define what a cult is. I don't really trust people with huge numbers of Twitter followers tweeting things being cult coins, cult meme coins. I think those people are almost definitely just filling their own bags, trying to get other people to buy in, and they're trying to create a narrative to
Mm.
convince you to buy to to buy a picture of a dog or a picture of
Yeah.
a cat with sunglasses. So the best way to do that is to convince people that it's a really good idea, and then you get to create a narrative, you create a story, you create a lore. For me, that's
Mm.
not real culture. I think that's fake culture. Uh, with SmooviePhone, what I'm trying to do is build a culture of good traders and intelligent leverage traders. So the whole protocol is built out in a way to where the mini games teach people how to trade options, and different portions of options. Right, there's a lot of nomenclature involved: premiums, calls, puts. And if I can teach people these separate parts of the machine, then it's easy to teach them how the whole machine functions as well. A lot of people prefer perps because they have really simple UIs. You select leverage,
Right.
amount, you select how much you want to risk, and you go. You don't really have to know what's going on behind the curtains. But I think a good trader knows what's going on, and a good trader understands that options are advantageous um, for leverage traders because really the volatility within crypto makes perps perfect
Mm.
for liquidating people. It makes
Yeah.
perps it makes perps a really effective tool for corporations and whales to extract value from people, from smaller traders. And I just think options do a much better job of giving you an effective tool to leverage trade.
Mm.
That might be harder to understand, so that's why my goal is to make them easier to understand for people.
Right. Right.
Learning.
And yeah, it's a hard thing for us in crypto, but at some point we got to do it. So yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's all very important. I think building on what like Dopex was kind of doing as well, and it seems like you're kind of trying to pursue that mission where you just simplify options trading as much as possible because, as you say, they give you a lot more risk management. It feels like and upside is also extremely high. And if you're just good at trading them, you can remain solvent. Feels like a lot longer. So nice to see
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, leverage trading in itself is a risky proposition, and the fact
Right.
that you can get liquidated at any point in a highly volatile asset makes it even more risky. So options are no brainer. A lot of the top action that we see is a result of perps and futures.
Mm.
And I actually don't think that's beneficial for the long-term future of crypto to be extremely volatile. I think it should be a slow-term positive growth. A
Right.
little bit less, a little bit less volatility would actually bring on much more investors. So
That makes sense for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, and
and
just
with options, they actually do the opposite. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
no worries. Go on. Yeah, if you.
Yeah, so with options, when the price gets really volatile, if you execute on a call, you're actually putting in a market sell order to kind of bring the spike down a little bit, and then if you execute on a put, you're putting in a market buy order on the same asset. So you're actually kind of saving it from that
You're gonna help in the
dip. So
market. Yeah.
yeah, you're stabilizing the market by trading options.
Right, right. Yeah, options is if you have the time and you have the capacity to learn, definitely get into that. You know, anybody watching out there, it's very worth it. Rather than getting like nuked on perps or getting nuked in the trenches on pump fund,
Yeah.
maybe.
Oh, gambling on meme coins is the worst of all of these, in my opinion. I think
Yeah, I think so too.
I I don't see a long term future there. I think it's extracted to liquidity, and I
For
think
sure.
it's a breeding ground for bad actors. I think actually a lot of people are going to end up being in a lot of trouble for the things they've done on Pump Fun in the long term, but we'll see.
Right. So much crime,
Mm.
unfortunately. And I think like the guys from DeFi Llama actually posted a tweet a few months ago that they did like an analysis of the wallets that had interacted with Pump Fund to see which had actually been profitable using Pump
Mm.
Fund, and it was something like 95% or something like that were unprofitable. So yeah, it's definitely stay away. There's better ways to speculate.
Absolutely, absolutely. I
Yeah.
agree.
So let's actually get into some of your products because there's a lot of cool stuff you guys are building. Gamified options. You have a peer-to-peer over-the-counter desk for people who are bridging to and from sankochain, um, and a bunch of other stuff. So let's get into that a little bit.
For sure. So with SP, I wanted to build intelligent DApps and products that generate revenue for holders. So I was looking to fill needs, right? Necessity is the mother of invention. I noticed there was a lot of people who were trying to instant bridge off of Senko chain back to Arbitrum. The slow bridge takes about 7 days, and for a lot of people, that's too long to wait to access the liquidity. So I created an OTC desk, which allows people to list their liquidity on Arbitrum in exchange for liquidity on Senko chain and vice versa. So what that offers is users the ability to earn some money or generate a premium on their liquidity. So essentially, say you have 11 DMT on Arbitrum, you could offer it for 10 DMT on Senko chain, and somebody who's trying to swap back to Arbitrum instead of using the slow bridge might take your offer, and then you make like a 10% premium on that, and that could be
Mm,
really sweet. We've had a holder, uh, an SP holder who's a user of the OTC bridge, and all he does is provide liquidity for the bridge, and he's made well over 100 DMT within like the last 45 days since the protocol launched, which is close to 7K right now, and all he's been doing
right.
is helping people bridge off, and then he bridges back to slow wave. He just had excess liquidity, and so this is maximizing liquidity efficiency. OTC also has a use case as an intra-chain OTC desk, so users can go on there and list any token on Arbitrum for any other token on Arbitrum, and it creates kind of like a wanted ad, and it's really useful for illiquid meme coins or illiquid tokens. So where you would otherwise get sandwiched by massive slippage on like Camelot or Uniswap, you could list the token on the OTC desk for whatever token you're wishing to swap for, and you could split the slippage between yourself and a potential buyer.
Mm,
So instead of utilizing the liquidity pools, I think it's an interesting decentralized way to swap tokens among users. I created a Telegram bot for it too to keep people, alert as to the listings that are going up. That's made it even more popular, and it gets volume every single day. It's been great. Over $100,000 worth of DMT has been bridged between the two chains using over-the-counter.me is the website, and it generates a 0.4%, so it's less than 1% protocol fee on each transaction. That protocol fee gets bridged back to Sanko Chain, gets used for SP buybacks, and those buybacks are then forwarded to the staking rewards pool. So that's one product. there's
mm.
there's a
That was
lot
one of
there's a
many.
lot going on.
And
Yeah,
you
but
mentioned this was like one of the most used or the most used product on Senko Chain at the moment.
absolutely in terms of TVL, there's
Hmm.
no product that generates higher quantity of volume. There's some
Makes
other
sense.
things
Yeah.
I built as well. So I built a racing game called Layer 3 Racing. It's on layer3racing.com, and it's accessible with the Smooth mobile SIM card. And pretty much it's just a multiplayer racing game that people who hold the NFT can play.
Mm,
The NFT linked to SP also gives people access to the staking, and it gives people access to the other future mini games coming down the line. So it's been a really fun little thing. The NFT is like a SIM card, which essentially gets placed into the phone, and then
Right.
it plays into that story there. Um, Another big project that was actually released less than 48 hours ago is called Sanko 420. So this is directly on sankochain. It's a short-term predictions market similar to the pancake swap predictions market if you're familiar with them. Pretty much people take macros, BTC, ETH, ARB, or SOL, and now DMT as well, even though it's not a macro. And then they pick higher or lower based on their prediction, and then the protocol executes a deposit, so they can deposit 1 or 2 SP tokens. The protocol shows them a timer for 4 minutes and 20 seconds and their prediction. If they predict correctly, they pretty much get a 2x, a 1.96x on their deposit. If they lose, their funds go into the rewards pool. And so this is just another fun way for people to trade
Mm.
and have fun with SP token, giving it a little bit more utility. The product is great. It's been getting by far the most TXs of any protocol on sankochain in the past
Hmm.
36 hours since launch here. It's a really fresh one. Yeah, it's called Sanko 420. You can find it on sanko420.com. Also, you do need the NFT to play, so it's NFT gated. And there is a 0.4% protocol fee on the SP used there. And that's pretty much just contributing to a net burn of SP token, making it
Hmm.
deflationary.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And can you kind of go through? So your system for tokenomics is like a buyback and burn on the SP.
So different protocols do different things. Some of the protocols within SP, some of the DApps, I mean, they use the tokens generated. For example, if they're generating DMT token, then I use that for a buyback of SP, which gets forwarded
Mm.
to the rewards pool for staking. So it's a form of revenue sharing. There was no SP in the treasury or SP that was not unlocked prior to this. So the staking rewards are 100% generated by protocol revenue. And
Okay.
some other products, like the games, then the games that are played in SP token, they contribute to an SP burn. So
Hmm.
create net deflationary tokenomics for SmooviePhone token.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, that's the ideal, right? The being able to actually have a self-sustaining DeFi protocol. That's the hope for a lot of people. Would be cool to see it on
That's
Senka.
that's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's the goal. So far, it has been effective.
Yeah.
Like 40% of SP has been staked to, because people want to participate in the revenue, the protocol revenue
40%.
rewards.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
15, a little bit above 15% has been burned just through the various D apps and mini games. When people play the mini games, it contributes to the burn. So it's kind of like a dual wield type of model. One side is
Mm.
generating revenue and pushing buybacks to create buy pressure. The other side is contributing to volume and creating a deflationary model by sending the fees that are accrued into a burn. So it's been really successful. We're the leader on sankochain right now, by far. The best token in terms of market cap, by far the
Hmm.
best token in terms of liquidity, by far the deepest liquidity. And yeah,
Very cool.
I'm really happy with how things have gone. The biggest product that is getting launched actually within the next couple of days, hopefully next week, if markets continue to hold strong, is called Leverage Machine. And Leverage Machine is going to give people the ability to trade options on the DMT wrapped pool on Arbitrum, where the deepest liquidity is.
Mm.
And then Leverage Machine is also creating a lot of protocol revenue. It's built via the Strike claim, so it's using the concentrated liquidity automated market maker. And it's going to be a really unique way for people to leverage trade on DMT token, which in itself is a volatile asset as an altcoin. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Very cool. Oh man, a lot of great products. A lot of great products on Senko Chain. Love
Thanks,
to see
man.
that.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, we're building out. There's other tokens too. There's some meme coin launchers and there's other cool stuff going on. The core
Mm.
team has some incredible stuff. They're building out Syncoscape, which is kind of like a their version of RuneScape with the native NFTs called Synco Pets Buns. They also have like a Farmville style game in-game
Mm.
token, Synco Gold, which you can farm. It's
Okay.
really cool as well. So yeah,
Interesting.
Sanko, the core team, as well as SmooviePhone, in its own way, have a lot of cool things to offer. I think anybody who wants to bridge over to sankochain won't regret it. And then, if you get into the TGs, if you get on X, you message people, you'll see it's a real, what we call a cult vibe, right?
Right.
There's a lot of people participating. There's a lot of people eager to help people figure out how to bridge, how to play the games and stuff like that. It's making crypto really fun, honestly. I like trading options, but I love participating in Sanko Chain.
Mm. Yeah, and that's seems to be the best element of Senko right now is that they really have like a dedicated community. And as you were talking
Yeah,
about before, there's a lot of these new cults. I think I saw a post where people were like, "Oh, guys, join my cult made yesterday." It's
yeah.
like really need something to stick by for a long time. So glad that's happening. Do you have a vision for how Senko Chain might grow going into the next year? And do you think it might remain the largest orbit chain on Arbitrum?
Oh, I think there's a real bull case to be made for GameFi in itself and SocialFi. Senko is also has Senko TV, which is a great streaming platform that generates burns of the DMT token. We won't get too deep into that now. Senko just has a lot of smart products. It has a really smart team of people. No VC, right? So that's pretty cool, pretty important as well. And it's super organic community. It's pushing each other and pushing the token. I think there's a bull case to be made that DMT could be the best performing token on all of Arbitrum by far.
Mm. It would be an interesting world for sure. You know,
Well, if you
uh,
if you look at the statistics of the previous year, like
yeah,
the top 10 performing tokens, it's really all meme coins and
right,
DMT.
yeah. I mean, meme coin season would be very interesting to see on Arbitrum. Like we had pump a little bit last few days, but it's still, we're still in need. We're still in need of
See,
something like that. So,
yeah, I'm a
it,
Boop holder. I like Boop. I think it's fun. I think it's funny. In terms of a
mm,
meme coin, I think they're doing it right. I think the community is
right.
cool. They're doing real memes, and I think memes are funny. I don't think a meme coin should just be, like what Murad's talking about, some idea or a concept, something that's not even funny. Um, but I think Boop could do really well as well. If anything does well on Arbitrum, I would bet on Boop. I wouldn't buy any other meme coin on Arbitrum.
Yeah,
Absolutely
it's a rough ecosystem for memes, but yeah,
yeah.
given the liquidity, I hope we'll see it. If not Boop, or other meme coins, then at least DMT because there's a lot being built there. So
Well, I think in that thought process, for me, layer threes, like I kind of look at like crypto, all of the crypto, the ecosystem is like the same way I look at people in countries and cities, right? It's all like networks of people communicating and talking. And layer threes have a case to be like kind of like a city state, kind of
mm,
like how Rome was or like Monaco. And so it's a super concentrated group of people building a really specific thing, and they can be really successful with it.
right.
And potentially, it's something that could grow to be really huge and have effects across all of blockchain. I think layer threes have the potential to be that, like a city, you know.
Mm,
While Ethereum is like a country. So, and
right.
then you have, you know,
Yeah, actually, Boots of Iron was talking about this on the last episode a little bit. That it's important to kind of set up infrastructure and be involved on all these orbit chains because all it takes is one of them to do really, really well, and then all of a sudden, your hard work has been it sees fruition a lot more. Any one of these orbit chains could account for a lot of TV, a lot of volume, a lot of activity, even for Arbitrum on aggregate. So, yeah,
right. Yeah, right now I kind of see Arbitrum as there might not be a lot of action going on in terms of meme coin trading and stuff, but it's very rich in liquidity.
for
You
sure.
got a lot of super smart people doing super smart DeFi stuff, and that makes it a really good ecosystem for smart money to come in. And then you just want to build things that people who are already on Arbitrum can interact with by
Mm,
creating liquidity like orbital liquidity that Camelot is talking about building. It'd be nice if people just had instant access to all the orbit chains so that it's like getting rid of borders,
right.
states in a way.
Mm. Globalist. Globalist
Yeah,
arbitrum ecosystem. Love that.
yeah,
Yeah. Um. Okay. And do you also want to mention a little bit about your like options background? I know you have your options protocol that you're building out. You've been a long time options trader. It seems like very involved with Strike slash DopeX. Um, maybe just touch on that.
yeah. So like I said, that's mainly where I've been trading. That was my intro to crypto, and that's where I came from in terms of crypto community. I think the Strike community, the dev team, they're awesome, and they've been super helpful with SP token and building out this DApp.
Mm,
The leverage machine options trading DApp for SmooviePhone is run via the Strike Clam
right.
contracts. Yeah, and it's an exceptional product. It's something I was really eager to build upon with the DMT wrap deep pool. I am the top trader on Strike right now. I have the highest volume as well as the highest P&L. And I guess in a way, I hope that qualifies me as an individual to help people learn how to trade options. You know,
That's that's great.
yeah, I guess if Michael Jordan is the best basketball player in the world, perhaps he wouldn't be the best coach, but
Right.
I'll try to be a good teacher as well. I'm also offering people who hold SP token and the SMS NFT. This month, I'm going to be doing some one-on-one lessons with people, just getting really down to earth, getting a really grassroots movement going, of
Mm,
more people trading options and less people trading perps. And Leverage Machine is going to be a venue for that. And
that's awesome,
I
actually.
thanks, man. Thanks. I think what's going to be really cool too is so Strike sometimes faces a bit of a bottleneck with the amount of liquidity available. People want to go on there and trade, and they're unable to
Right.
have sufficient liquidity. Unfortunately, right now it's just difficult for them to compete with the likes of like GMX or a centralized exchange. My idea is also to have Telegram bots integrated into the trades that are going on within the app, as well as
Mm,
liquidity that's being added on the app, and kind of give people alerts when new liquidity is added or when a new trade is opened. And then within the TG community, kind of discuss what's going on, um,
hmm
share my thoughts and opinions, and then teach people in that way. And then they're kind of interacting with the protocol and the product at all times. The protocol also includes a guided tutorial. So it's going to be a really neat way in which when you get on the protocol, unlike a usual options protocol where you kind of have to figure out what to do yourself, a user would just go on there and the protocol will ask them, what do you want to do? Provide liquidity or trade options? And say they select trade options. The protocol will ask them, okay, how long do you want to trade options for? What kind of expiry are you looking for? Say 1 week. They select 1 week. Then the protocol will ask them, okay, to what point do you think the price of DMT will go in the next week? And say they
mm.
select $100. The protocol will immediately select for them and
Ah,
highlight all of the liquidity available up to $100 under calls, and then they could just execute on that very easily. So it's really bringing
very
options out
simplified.
there.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah, I
the
mean
goal.
that's really what options are, and I mean obviously there's like Greeks, but for a lot of people, it can be so scary looking into it and just
Yeah,
seeing all this like jargon. But at the end of the day, it's like, is there liquidity? What strike? Call or put? You know.
right,
So
right. Yeah, I think the nomenclature is important to understand too. We say premium, call, put. All these terms are alien to people. People are much more
right,
familiar with
right.
with perp terms. So I made sure and include it as well. Call slash long, put
Mm.
slash short, you know, premium slash fee, and some of this stuff to just make it a little simpler for people who are newbies, so they don't have to be so intimidated by all the numbers that are going on in front of them
Right.
on the screen.
Do you think that's one of the reasons why it seems like retail options trading seems to be a lot smaller, specifically on chain,
Yeah,
relative to like perps? It's just hard to get into that.
absolutely. I think we talk about the curve. People who are super intelligent, people who are not intelligent, people who can figure stuff out, people who can't. I I think it's more about the ease of use of the UI,
Mm,
and I think it's super important that people know what they're doing, like they understand the process,
right.
but not necessarily that they have to put a lot of thought into executing on the process. And yeah, I do think that's a major bottleneck. Crypto in itself is already complex. thing, I think we underestimate how difficult it might be for somebody who's outside of the crypto sphere to purchase, to open up a smart wallet,
Yeah.
to connect a smart wallet to a
Get on
DApp.
chain.
Yeah, we tell people Bitcoin is programmable money, but we don't tell people what that means. We don't show people what that means. We just assume they'll
Right.
understand that. And if they don't, we laugh at them, right? We think, how
Right.
does this person not know? Obviously, we understand it's something that we do every day. I think there's a massive lack of education for people. And I think the opportunity to educate people can also be an onboarding tool.
For sure, yeah. Engaging educational content.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to talk about? I think we covered a decent amount here.
Oh, nothing much besides that. I'm super excited for everything that's coming down the line for SmooviePhone as well as for all of crypto in Q4. I'm super optimistic. As an
Hmm.
options trader, I'm really bullish on the end of the month and
Right.
Q4, as well as everything that's coming after the election. One bit of alpha is with SmooviePhone next week. We're actually also dropping a predictions market on sankochain, so that's going to allow people to do to interact with kind of like a dual pool system where they can choose if they think Donald Trump is going to win or if they think Kamala Harris is going to win. And pretty much the protocol is going to send all of the bets on either side from the losing side to the winning
Hmm.
side.
Right.
So it's kind of like a self-sustaining, decentralized predictions market. And then later, that's also going to be integrated with macros. So higher, lower bets on the price of Bitcoin, on the price of Ethereum, et cetera, et cetera. So that's something that's down the line. And that's something that's news. I haven't told anybody about that yet. So if anybody
Very
watches
cool.
this,
Alpha.
they'll
Alpha
have
right
that
here, guys.
information. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Great to hear. I'm gonna be excited to see how that performs. People get involved.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you,
Yeah.
Christopher. I really enjoyed this talk, and I think
Yeah,
your
same
questions
here.
were very, very well thought out.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully, we'll have you on again at some point in the future. And until next time.
For sure, man.
All
Peace.
right. Peace. Take care.